You can do that. Okay, let's call the meeting to order if you could, please.
That's how we make it.
Okay, the first order of business would be the minutes from the June 21 meeting. Which was mailed to the magistrates.
I make a motion.
You want to, wait a minute, just a minute, I've got an addition. We left North Drive off on my road list.
You didn't say
I didn't
that.
see that on there.
You didn't say that. I'm gonna add this piece into this
Okay.
minutes, but just make the motion, okay? Because that wasn't included. I didn't hear it anyway.
Okay.
So you're on your blacktop list?
Yes, on the blacktop list, North Drive was.
Okay. So we want to add North Drive as an amended to the June 21st minutes,
Correct.
and just reflect that in today's minutes, if you would, please. Motion
I make a motion.
by Bernard Ice, second by Sam Hutchins. All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Disapprove? The motion will carry. Next will be your bills list and your additional bills and transfers. There's a substantial bill for fiscal court audit, $12,000. Quite a few state projects and blacktopping from the previous contract we had with the highway department. Any questions, comments? Otherwise, entertain a motion to approve the bills. A motion by Terry Hahn. I'm listening to the sidebar over here.
You weren't listening, you were just watching.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Sam Hutchins. Further discussion? All approved, say aye.
Uh,
Disapprove? Motion carries. Okay, before we go any further, not on the agenda. I get a little joy out of saying that sometimes. I'm going to ask Deputy Sheriff Levi Preston to come forward, please, and the sheriff.
You won't be over with it?
Well, sure. We're going to Come on over here, Levi. This is an appreciation, whereas Deputy Sheriff Levi Preston has demonstrated his dedication to the mission and values of the Nelson County Sheriff's Department in the County of Nelson and his fellow men and women in law enforcement, and whereas in a display of exemplary service without regard to his own welfare, on June 2nd, 2016, Deputy Sheriff Preston put his life on the line by extricating a woman out of a burning vehicle, and whereas while Deputy Sheriff Preston was removing the trapped woman out of the vehicle, he himself suffered injury. Therefore, it be resolved, I ask all citizens of Nelson County to join me to show our gratitude to Deputy Sheriff Levi Preston. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And Sheriff and I were down to the hospital checking on the girl the next day, and we were on some other business. Is that the same person, right?
Yeah.
And Jerry, that was right at the exit there in Bloomfield, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it was right at the exit of Bloomfield where she flipped her car on fire.
I read that.
Well, thank you so much, and keep up the good work. That's why policing's, it makes the police department have a little shine to them instead of a negative side. Okay, second reading on the amended alcohol ordinance. Fiscal court's already approved on first reading, advertised for a second.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Sam Hutchins, second by Jerry Hahn. All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Disapprove? Motion will carry. Okay, next would be a second reading on DRB amendment on the design review standards, and whereas we cut some of the red tape out, we can administratively review some of the smaller items. Motion to approve on the second reading. Motion by Jeff Lear, second. Jerry got you first there. Second by Jerry Hahn. All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Disapprove? Motion will carry. Next on the agenda is the Kentucky Office of Homeland Security Grant Resolution. Joe, you want to explain a couple of those?
We're county's filing 2 grant applications this year, one under emergency management, which is a grant application for replacement of weather sirens. We have several that are at least 20 years old, so we're trying to get some help from Homeland Security to do that. The second resolution is for Emergency Medical Service Department to try to get funding for additional load systems for our truck. We currently have 2. Both of those have been funded by Homeland Security, so we're trying to.
There's 4.
Only 2 load systems.
Oh, okay, the cots,
We
yes.
have, yeah, power load cots, we have 4, but
Yeah.
the actual load system.
Okay.
It actually comes out.
It comes out, yeah.
Hydraulic, yeah.
Yeah.
Need a motion to approve the resolutions.
Make the motion.
Thank you, Vernon. Second by Jeff. All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Disapprove? And motion will carry. Okay. Road Department report first, this under A, I added vehicle bids. We opened bids Friday. Guys got a copy of that in your mailbox.
Yeah.
I sent you guys an email too, because some of that stuff was hard to fax or whatnot. They kind of tried to explain the bids we were getting, because there's some different options for the road department itself. One has a utility bid on it, and then the other dually has a flat bid. And then, of course, for the landfill, actually, Solid Waste Department will get a pickup truck just for that puck truck that runs around.
What, these are utility bids?
One's a utility bid, one's a flat bid.
You know what your,
What I'm after on these utility bids, guys, is I got 2 foremen that take trucks home, be called out at night, and they got chainsaw, weed eaters and things like that. And in the past, we used a standard pickup and it gets down in the back, it's tore up, doesn't get maintained well. The 2 foremen I got now have asked that they get utility bids for their take-home vehicles. Plus, I'd like them to have 4-wheel drive as take-home, because they come out in the middle of the night during snow, whatever, they just need the 4-wheel
tree,
drive.
use the trees over the road or?
What I've got, but this is one new truck, and then we got a 4-wheel drive Ford that we call the sign truck, and we're looking to purchase a utility bid. They're about $1,000 and put it on that, so both foremen will have a pretty, with one I have a brand new, I don't know who's gonna get it, we'll flip a
So
coin or
which one of
something.
these you're wanting here on this list, Jim?
The F-250 with the utility bid.
With the $33,245.
That utility bid's a little salty, but this will be a
Well, that
10.
grant here, you just said you could buy one for 1,000, you already got one located for 1,000?
We're gonna put one on the
Other
other
truck,
truck,
sign
so,
truck.
the other sign truck, so both guys will have a F-250. Now, the problem with the 250 the sign truck, we use it for salt, right, spread, but it's overload that truck drags the ground.
Yes,
So that's why we're going with the dually, so that gives me 3 dualies during salt. The dualies handle all these subdivisions, and they do a real good job, and they go down some of these dead-end roads that you can't hardly turn around in and stuff. The sign truck that we're gonna convert to a foreman truck, won't be hauling salt anymore with my 3 dualies, so that's the reason.
You've got a copy of this in front of you.
Yes.
Which one of these prices?
Who wants that one?
The 33,240
$33,245.
and the dually,
Can I ask a question about that, dually?
yeah.
It looks like it's $5,000 difference for that bid.
For a flat bid?
Correct. Sounds real
Really?
steep to me. Y'all got the quote.
They asked
That's
for
reading I bid it
certain
one way or
bid.
the other.
I don't know if you
So
realize
y'all can
this, guys.
choose.
They also asked for a certain bid that's got the texture and, isn't that right, Brad?
Right. That bid's coming from Jay Edinger. I was reading that email. Did you guys check the email on that?
No.
Yeah.
That's where the $5,000 come from?
Correct. That's the reason we bid it that way, in case y'all want to do something different.
Now, the last dually we bought it with pickup bid and took the pickup bid off. Remember, we had to sell that?
It's sat around forever.
Yeah, sat around forever, and we bought a flatbed. I couldn't tell you what it was. It's been 5, 6, 7 years ago. But it had to have a lot of fixing to the frame because it wasn't set up for a flatbed per se. The frame was different. It had curves and
Saved about
stuff.
$70,000 on this vehicle. Yeah, I don't know if you realize that or not.
I know.
No.
That's
I know.
state property.
Oh, these about 8 or 9
$8
grand.
grand is what you say.
8,600.
Yeah, but it just seems like that flatbed's just a little bit higher than last time I bought one. Been a while.
That was in the 80s.
Now, Dean,
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it. I'm too close to say that. I'm too close to say that.
Now, Dean, those 2 he's talking about is for road department. Now, I want one for solid waste as well.
Uh-oh.
That's the reason we bid it that way.
You want the,
I want, and you can do your motions every day you need to, it's in our budget, the
Right.
250 with the 8-foot bid.
Yeah, the
So cheap-
250.
Notice mine's the cheapest of the whole bunch.
$25,547.
So you don't want a utility bid, you just want.
No, because we'll take Eddie's truck.
Oh, you explained it.
Yeah,
You
you
get
put
that
that,
thing on
put
it,
that, put
yeah.
that tipper.
Yeah.
Bottom line is, bottom line, they're looking for a motion to buy 3 vehicles. Let them write the PO to me for the.
Make a motion to go with them.
Okay, second by Keith. Further discussion? All approved, say aye. Disapprove? Motion will carry.
I'll give you, what they, which 3 they approved today. You put it in the corner, right?
Yeah,
Don't you ask?
yes, please.
Okay, next item under road department, I want to talk about District Number 5's blacktop list. Jim, I talked to Jerry about this earlier,
Okay.
and we want to, I think, you have a copy of that
No.
email box? Golly.
Failed to do it again?
You didn't get an email on either?
No, I didn't.
Egan Road in Copperfield. Egan Road's $45,382. The first part of Copperfield was $19,000, almost $20,000.
Copperfield Way is the name of the road.
Yeah.
Elaine, I'll give you a copy of this one too.
Yeah, I have it.
We're doing, well, it's gonna be part of my report today, so.
But you can get to that in a minute, but I would like to go ahead and get a motion to approve those 2 roads in Jerry's district. Second by Jeff. Further discussion? All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Disapprove? Motion carries. We're going to hold up on your district till you get the full list. Yes. Okay? Rest of your report there, Jim.
All right, Crew 1's been working on Copperfield Way. We did, it had some road failures in it, so we had to dig it out and repair it with asphalt, and asphalt patched it, but the whole road needs an overlay, and that's the reason it's in the list. I think that's been built 15 years now. It's the main drag, it's the main drag going in and out.
Main drag might be close to 18 or 19.
Yeah. So it needs an overlay real bad. It's like a complete rumble strip is when you go in there. Other work we've done, Meadowbrook Road, we've done some excavating and repairing asphalt patching work there. And then we had some pretty good wind back on June 24th with a lot of trees down. So we spent 2 days on trees, storm debris removal on trees on the Friday, the 24th, and the 27th, Monday. We have started working on Piedhon Road, which we call it prep it for overlay. Since it's a chip seal road, we replace any pipes that needed. Got 2 pipes that have to be replaced, graded off. We're not done there. It won't take a whole lot more, another day or so. And that's why Egan Road ties to it, and it's in real bad shape. It needs an overlay. That's one I think the previous sheriff said he can't drive a motorcycle on it. It's so rough. So anyway, that's one of the roads he's talked about, I guess. Crew 2, we've done some ditch work on Quarry Lane. Did some pavement repair work that you had, Sam, on Woodline Road, where we have built a little concrete flume. It'll work, the water goes over the road there. That type of structure works well. We've got them in several places. Yeah, they did a good job. We built one like that out at Love Ridge, and it holds up well. You don't have enough grade to change a bigger pipe. You just have to live whenever 3 or 4 years water goes over the road, but it doesn't eat it out when we build these things. The 10-ton bridge, did the guardrail repair on that bridge down there at Woodlawn Road and Tom Greer. They're going to be starting that project today, so they'll be cutting the Woodlawn Road culvert. I've sent that notice out to everybody. They're supposed to be starting. The guy's supposed to get his rebar in today and tear out the bridge. We're going to be, I've got a crew out there putting some temporary fencing up, keep the cattle in for Mr. Barlow. Brad did some research for us on this Green Chapel Road. He's got Commonwealth of Kentucky's got a master agreement to use those railroad rails and drive them in and build with guardrail. 6 feet high and then drive us in. He's gonna draw a contract up probably, and it'd be like a purchase order using this master agreement. We won't have to bid it.
What I'm gonna do, don't take Brad's information, I'm gonna submit it to, there's a fund of money in Frankfurt called the Emergency Relief Fund, and we've been successful over the years in getting some of that money, so I'm gonna apply for that. It's usually a week's notice whether you're gonna get it or not, but it doesn't, it's not long-term.
How long are them guys?
33 and 40? Or 40?
According to the state, they come in 40-foot lengths. What they try to do is cut them in half, if it'll work, to only drive 20 feet at a time. That's a cost savings measure. I mean, that's all they're doing. So we have to figure out between 3 engineers, you'd hope we can figure out what we're gonna do. John and I went out and measured, it's 250-foot long section, basically, that's got cracks in it, and it's starting to move. The heights vary anywhere from 14 feet to 30 feet in depth from the road down to the creek line. So we got to figure out what depth we're going to drive these and come up with an estimate.
If
Give it to
33
Dean.
is the worst, then we could just drive. I didn't really get 40 footers.
Yeah, according to Chad Fletcher at the state, he said they use 40 footers and whatnot. So we got to figure out what we're going to do. If we're going to apply for money, I'll be conservative with what we're doing and try to, I'm rough figuring $70,000 to $80,000 is what we're looking at.
Do we have any of them anywhere in Nelson County yet?
We have, I don't know,
Yeah.
Jim did one on Tom Greer Road.
Right. Tom Greer Road, we did one about 15,
No.
15 years ago. Back in that, I'm surprised the 40 footers. It's the interesting thing about railroad rails, they came in a standard length 33 feet for, 1800s, and they were using this rail to do this with. I've never heard of 40 footers. But anyway, we did it on Tom Greer Road. FEMA reimbursed us. 15 years later, maybe we might have finally got the money, but it was a slide like that. And then 1066, the state's done one that's about 400 feet long if you want to go see one. And where they've done it. I took pictures
They
of
did
it.
that on 49.
49, just
You're
about
about
Willis
Willis
Distillery.
Distillery.
Willis Distillery.
And it's about the cheapest way to do it. It does keep it from sliding. You see what's happening there, those big tree things have busted loose and gone and slid, that creek's eating away, so. It's and the fact that you got a requirements contract means it makes it a lot simpler. You don't have to do a spec and a design and a bid. You just line out what bid items you want. You want X number of these and that, so it'll work out pretty nice time Brad gets around to it, so. But that one there is one that keeps sliding. I don't know of a better way to solve the problem, so it's worth, I think it's worth doing it.
Yeah.
If you can get some money from the state, well worth doing.
Could we close that road here?
After y'all mentioned
Yeah,
that
go ahead.
for last time my phone rung off. Hey, no, listen, cut that part out.
Yeah, please.
I
You don't like a
know.
robo, every 5 minutes they were calling. Serious, I'm not
Oh,
exaggerating.
no, you don't do that.
You got the message?
Jerry said he wanted to do it. You want to do it.
Well, anything else, Jim?
Yeah, EMS building's looking real nice. Joey may be able to tell you exactly when they want to move him in. I look at it about
We're working on the
85%
lease, I've got
complete.
a draft report, I made some changes to Amanda, she hasn't got back to me on that.
Right, so it's coming good. And then one thing, I've been sending you emails, Dean, this three-way stop situation at Woodlawn Springs.
Uh-huh.
Did you guys want to discuss and approve doing that at two
No,
road
the
intersections?
homeowner association, they were just up there this morning, they thought we were going to vote on it today, they have not come to a conclusion.
Yeah, they're wanting to wait until after their September meeting. to
Well,
see
that's,
if they-
I got this letter from the guy, and
Yeah.
it was kind of a wishy-washy say, and
So
I
we're
didn't,
going to
I
hold up
wasn't
on that.
comfortable with
We
it.
want the homeowner association to.
Yeah,
approve.
because you'll get 100 complaints.
And they were just up here, so.
Yeah, they called me coming up the steps, so they'd
That's
rather
good.
wait till after their meeting.
No, I have no
And
problem.
they pretty well know that probably going to fail.
The-
That
the-
the homeowner association will not approve.
They won't get a majority?
I don't think they will.
Oh, really?
But we'll see.
Politics is best, but it's called democracy.
Well, I understand, but I thought they would have, but, it's argumentative where you put them. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it's, yeah.
that's fine, no problem with me.
Yeah, we'll
And
hold-
court has to, by ordinance, the court has to approve the stop signs bill.
So we'll hold on that till after their
Speed
meeting
limit
to
signs
see
stuff,
where that
that's your
goes
thing.
and then decide.
Sounds good with me, that's all I got.
EMS report?
I have your monthly report for June, it's also the fiscal year ending report. 654 calls made in June, 21, 28 a day. For a year, 6,925. That's up quite a bit over the previous years, as you can see. We brought us, returns to Station 1. That means we brought a truck from Bloomfield or New Haven back to Station 1 49 times for coverage in Bardstown during the month. Ended the year real well on our fees, collected a little over $2 million on fees. We spent a little over $2.2 million, so we've got a shortfall of about $200,000.
Joe, so that's about 300 runs, or so, almost 300 runs more than last year. Or a little bit less than that. So you need a little less than one run a day extra. But they're never all spaced out in the right time, you know.
No, and I think it's important to point out that if you look last year, this year, we've been on a steady increase. If you look beyond that to 2014 and further back than that, you can see a steady increase, about 300 runs per year. I think I have to point out that we're still making these runs with 4 trucks during the day and 3 trucks at night, same as we did 10 years ago at 14 runs a day. So this is becoming a problem staffing.
We've had another little shift on though.
We will in July.
Yeah, we're on July. Yeah.
As of July, yeah.
We seen you
As
slacking
nice.
in 2011.
If you want to put it there.
Actually, I think a lot of the increase come from the hospitals.
Hospital, we're averaging about 8 runs a day, 8 transfers a day out of that.
And that is tremendous. And see, when you go all over the world, it's a 3-hour trip.
At least.
If they're just transferred, if they're just transferred, well, non-emergency.
The problem we run into is most of those transfers are during the day to places like Jewish Cath Lab, Jewish Hospital. Every other ambulance service is lined up at their back door. So that 3 hours that would have been a normal turnaround could a lot of times turns into 4.5 hours. That would be my report.
Thank you. Young Sport George is not here today with a landfill solid waste report.
Okay, well, John continues to show up, so that's always encouraging.
Didn't quit yet.
Yeah. I'm starting to release more and more, and we discussed last week, you guys know we're going to do this expansion. And we got to get to what's called an NOI, and now that we got John on board, and I'm starting to see he can do more probably with these maps than I can, as far as what his knowledge is. Our last couple, we need about 8 or 9 maps of that site. So that's what his chores here recently, outside of all the other 10 other things we've done on training him. So hopefully over the next month or 2, we can try to circle around that and get that project moving forward now that I've got him on board. For the news media, we are a day behind this week. We're getting tons of phone calls as usual. So everybody gets pushed 1 day for the garbage collection. So Mondays gets picked up on Tuesdays, and it just follows that whole pattern. Fridays get picked up on Saturdays. Same thing we always do. One thing, and some of you got the email, I didn't include all of you, but I'll discuss our high lift. We were doing some work on it Friday, was it Friday or Thursday, John?
Friday, I believe.
Friday on the air conditioning unit. It's starting to, the engine itself is getting oil into the muffler somehow or another. Exactly, Bernard. So we've got a separate guy going to come out this morning, Ronnie Dasman. He's done some work for us in the past to double check. My mechanic has an opinion of what's going on. Could potentially be some rings broke in the engine, letting that oil bypass. Ronnie said, in a best case scenario, maybe you got a seal going out in your turbo.
That's what I talked to High Cons mechanic, and he told me before you check motor parts, it's definitely check.
Yeah, and we are. The turbo wouldn't
The
hurt.
turbo won't kick in sometimes, we blow that excess oil out there.
Right.
And it'll allow it to set right there.
And we put that turbo on probably not 4 or 5 months ago, but you know how things are. I mean,
He said you take your bottom hose off it and fill it, if you got any play in it, he said it's possible.
so we're gonna try that first.
Yeah, that's only $1,000.
Before we go forward. But the issue lies in, it's coming, fellas. I mean, that engine's getting
Yeah.
older, and
We
you know where I'm heading
your
at.
budget, right? You're getting one.
Yeah, boy.
I still don't like the idea of getting a new model design though. That one's been a turkey in.
It is,
Yes.
Yeah, what it is, yeah.
We can bid a John Deere.
Don't think you want to do that.
It'll be open bids.
That's the
but-
only one that's got one similar in size. That's kind of the problem. There is no competition no more on Highlands that size.
My point for the whole story is basically, we'll figure out what's going on. I'll get with Dean. If we need to get with you guys, we will. You know, that's something we gotta fix. We can't just sit around. Hopefully, it's the $1,000 fix,
Out of tractor.
or we got a couple different options. You know, if that's not the turbo,
Make loaders.
we gotta replace the rings in it, or we overhaul the whole engine, which is being, means it's down 3 weeks or so. That's sending it out. We won't do it. That's about 16,000 to do that. Or we buy, they don't even make remans for this engine. You gotta buy a new one, send yours back. It's what I've been told.
Senior core back.
Yep. It's 20 grand for the engine itself. That doesn't include the labor, so we get to switch it out.
That's not all that bad if you think what that piece of
In
equipment.
the scheme of things, it's not good.
But the Brad and I had a discussion last week, or staff meeting, the $20,000 investment's not so bad. If, when you get that part fixed, is the undercarriage gonna be, need replaced?
Oh,
That's another.
Yeah, the drivetrain, we just did the undercarriage, the drive motors and the pumps and all that. That's, I'm telling you guys, we get into that, that's what I found in the past, that's $40,000.
Yeah.
Because one thing wipes it all out.
It's all like a boat without a motor.
Yeah. So,
Motor.
I'm always getting to a point.
Well, you could just
Nah, I
skip
guess.
all that.
It's after holiday. We do have the budget.
Forward, but that's our concept we talked about.
You want to
Okay.
bid a new piece of equipment.
I think we ought to bid it, and then we can bring it back, and you guys can decide at that point.
But
Just
didn't you
'cause
tell
we're
me
doing
it takes like 6 months on a bid?
Uh-huh.
I think we need to go and bid it and have it ready. And if,
I don't disagree with that.
because it takes so long, they come from France.
That's what he said. Shipped over.
You know, guys, it's a roll of the dice. It really is. I mean, I don't know.
Why don't you go ahead and entertain a motion to advertise for bids for a new high lift by Bernard Ice,
I'll second.
second by Jerry Hine. Further discussion?
Gotta have it.
All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Disapprove? Motion will carry. Move on.
That's it.
He didn't like it.
I don't like it. I'll be honest with you. But
He's not
I don't either, but
too many hours off. It would be nice to get another, what, 2,000 hours out of it?
they said about
Really, and
13.
truthfully, it's another year.
Where's it at now, 12.5?
12,000 change, a little over 12.
Yeah.
I'm telling you 15, I know from experience, that's when the issues start showing up. Unfortunately, this one showed up a year early.
Especially when you're daily use like that.
Yeah.
Let's go to Recreation Department report. Tyler, you got any news for us?
Just working on a couple things out at soccer. We're redoing that island around the flagpole. Talked to you, got that, getting some new stone, putting in some new plants and stuff, just trying to dress stuff up there. Road department came out and helped. After that windstorm, we had a tree that got derooted and went across the path, and they came out I think last week, and helped me get that removed.
And something that I think Keith had mentioned before, is maybe we need to talk about getting the walking path, parts of it.
Yeah,
reserved
there's
for
some
somebody.
places that
Yeah.
need to be.
So once you
addressed.
work with Brad and John on that, maybe get
Some-
Mego or somebody gives a price on doing
Someone
that.
getting those fixed.
What about the
Well, our
ditch
machine
line, the
built that
drainage
little?
ditch? When you,
Drainage.
in between the parking lots goes
In
down
between the
to-
parking lots, well, we need to do those and the ones in between the fields, because they're in such bad shape. 'Cause
What do you want done to them?
he's wanting,
Well,
what we were
that
talking
one, it's
about,
eroding pretty bad.
what we were talking about, putting that rock in there.
I don't like riprap at all. Can you, my thought would be is if you can flatten it out a little and then maybe put
Reshape
those
it.
straw mats in and get grass down in there, which yesterday would have been terrible work, would have wiped it out.
If you go do that, maybe like in September, would be a good time to do that, yeah.
We have a project in, Tyler has a project in September that they're gonna do on a field out there. So he's gonna use some road department help.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll tie in. at the
That would be a
same
good time to do it, but it's eroding pretty bad. And you don't want the sediment going down.
You're talking about in between the football and baseball parking lot. Is that what you're talking
The
about?
one
Yeah.
that goes all the way across. Yeah.
Jim, Keith asked if our blacktop machine would
It's
do
8
that.
foot wide, they're 6, aren't they? They're 6 foot.
I
I don't know if we can put something in it to.
I thought you could, I thought you
Shoes.
could.
Won't go less than that.
No, they won't go less than 8.
Those do.
I think
They can do that, but they might have to bring in a different machine too. I don't remember who paid that. Did Mago pay
Mago
that? It's
paid
been
it.
so long
They
ago.
go do.
But they'll get hold of Mike Rogers, let him look
Can't
at
find
it.
that.
You know, he's charging,
Because if I think we can do it.
he'll charge, well, he charges $10 a ton, it's not a whole lot of money.
Would he only do that on that?
He will, he'll honor his $10. I feel like they will, they've always, when they do a little dinky job for us, just because they do enough for us,
I know, but I wonder how much they do on the old blacktop.
We wanted to do that.
Yeah.
There's some rough spots on the trips, you got to lay, so
Yeah, there's a lot of,
a lot of people use it.
Just bring us back some proposals.
okay.
it wasn't so bad when it was gravel. You know.
Started new, yeah. Yeah. See what I'm saying? The weight of that concrete truck running over that old blacktop, it could buckle it a little bit because it's gonna be in front of that paver now. Before it was like, say, rock.
We'll have to have him look at it and see what he
Yeah,
thinks.
yeah. Give him the
You
design.
know,
professional.
our guys have done some neat work, whether or not we can put a little plate in there to make it 6 foot wide, I don't know.
I bet you Mago's got something like that.
Like a shoe.
Yeah, I know they don't have no special paper because they don't have that much.
They
You know, they do have a special, they do have a small grinder, we call it.
It's just a mill machine.
Mill machine, that's smaller than the usual.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they put it on a bobcat.
They've got a real nice 8-foot paver, of course, it'll go up to 16.
I
The
guess,
bike path's about 8 foot wide though, isn't it?
yeah, I think it's a little wider.
And the bike path on 245, it's about 8 foot wide.
Someone did that,
You think
walking
it
path
is
at the
about
hospital.
6, but it may be 8.
Well,
That's
if
a
you
nice
look at
walk.
mine, I'm a little-
You ever walk that, about 4 foot on both sides?
It
It's
looks
pretty
like
nice.
You look at it quick.
The reason we didn't do 8, off on Biden, people drive down.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Good idea.
In your mail, put a copy of the planning commission budget, just for a matter of record, they're required to give us their annual budget. No approvals necessary, but, so Lane, I'd like for you to just make sure we get that in matter of record that she has presented to the court. I think I'll put a copy in your mailbox.
You want it included or not?
Yeah, include, please.
Sure.
And also, I want to include in matter of record, to no approval from the court is necessary, but we've already approved it, is the bond for the clerk. I believe the auditor recommended the clerk's bond go from 75,000. The law change goes from 75,000 to 100,000. But I think the court records ought to reflect that. That way she's covered when she comes back and does your next audit. You don't have to come here digging it up. And I have an appointments in your mailbox there too, to the planning commission, with Mike Zoller retiring. I always go to you guys and ask if you know someone in your districts, whether that might make a good member, and Keith has presented Nolan Boone to me for the appointment to the Joint City County Planning Commission. Nolan's come in and actually met with Jan and wants to take this job on, so I can get a motion to approve Nolan Boone to the Planning Commission.
I'll so make that motion.
Okay,
I'll second.
second by Sam Hutchins. All approve, say aye.
Aye.
Disapprove? The motion will carry. Let's see what else I've got here.
Well, I had him standing in line for a job, he was the only one in line.
And he was running the other way.
Matthew and I met last week, and we were toying with this interlocal agreement, and I have not read the article with the Standard yesterday. But,
You need to read it.
well, I listened over the last 6 months to the fiscal court members, listened to some of the city council people one-on-one, and try to put together a combination of ideas from the legislative members here on both sides. And as a starting point, I have not seen what the city's attorney, has he presented something yet to the city?
Not yet.
Not to me. No, nothing. But basically, it boils down to me that the city wants control of the board, or at least an even vote on the board, as far as the composition of the board, and that cities now want to take it upon themselves to go after, or I guess commandeer, the funds from the ordinance that the county has passed, the $24 a year on the tax bills. The city's making claim that they can go after that money and get some of that money. We're in the opinion that that's not going to happen if we've got anything to do with it. But most of this is listed of Councilman Simpson, Lydian, Fred Hagan somewhat, and to you guys. So mark it up, got to start somewhere, and open the floor for discussion somewhere.
Well, Sam and I was talking earlier, you know, if they want control, I mean, we're putting in 60% of it, and I know they go back to that county resident, city resident thing, but if they only put in 40%, Sam wouldn't start a business tomorrow and let a 40% partner tell him what to do.
We agree with you.
And that's just where I'm at with it. It don't make sense to give them control. They want to put in equal amount, and it's equal control, and I think the thing you amended is pretty equal.
It's four, technically, it would be considered a 4-3 county appointment versus a city appointment.
And the makeup of the board itself is strictly emergency services, correct, Joe?
That's what it has.
Can that be changed, Joe?
Can it be changed?
Yeah.
If the court desires to change.
But you're adding
Still has to
members.
be 51% law enforcement.
Okay.
But Lincoln's.
51%?
So if we added and I had that on a draft before, if I added a councilman and a magistrate to that list, so I gotta add another police officer, which you can do. There's no, let the sheriff have not just one appointment, let the sheriff have a second appointment.
You can add two and not have to add one, because with the makeup of the current board, or the proposed board, you can add two people and still not be at 49%, correct? Right now, you've got.
I don't know what Judge has proposed. But
Well, I'm just saying, if
at
if it's a 6-member board now, and they're all emergency services, you
Should I
can
put a
add
copy
2
in your
more
mail?
people and not change it, not.
I may have done that for a reason.
We have a 7-member board today,
Okay,
4 law enforcement and 3 other emergency services.
okay, and that's fine.
I get Randy a copy of that.
3
You asked
non-emergency
him.
service personnel,
Well, we're 3 emergency service, non-law enforcement.
okay.
Here's what I propose, Joe. Listen to other, this is not all my idea. The dispatch force shall be composed of the following persons: the city of Barstown Police Chief, Nelson County Sheriff, the city of Barstown Fire Chief, the volunteer fire department appoint a chief or elect a chief, EMS director, whoever that may be, a city police officer appointed by the police chief, and a deputy sheriff appointed by the sheriff. And that gets your ratio of your law at 4. So you're over the 51%.
If you added 2 civilians, you'd have to add 1 more law.
Have to have 1 more law enforcement. And in order to do that right, I mean, who are you gonna pick? You know, the city's gonna be mad, and the county's not gonna be happy if we don't have an equal.
So now 3 of the 7 are city.
Yes.
3 of the 7 are
That should give
city.
you
Right now, they've only got 2
representation.
appointments.
So we
On the current one, they've only got 2
And they only pay 40.
appointments.
So you added 1.
I added 1 to the city. So I thought that was a compromise between,
Well, one thing I have a problem with that is we all took the heat to do that vote. And none of us are on there. And we're getting this money to come in, and we're putting it in the pot and just handing it to them. I have a
we're
problem.
not handing this to the city, though.
Not the city, we're handing it to the 911
Dispatch.
company.
Well, not necessarily.
All right, help me out there.
We present, the board works off a budget, and we present that budget to fiscal court and city council for approval. So when you make a statement that you hand a pot of money to us, that money is handed to us to operate based on the budget we have presented and you have approved. The same as my EMS budget is presented to the court and you approve it. So the money that, first of all, the 60/40 is only 60/40 of the shortfall of revenue.
Correct.
We collect cell phone funds, we collect 911 funds, which will be the property tax fund. So the 60/40 is not 60/40 of a $900,000 budget. It's 60/40 of the shortfall of the budget, which is about $400,000 or $500,000 now.
About that.
Right. So when we talk about funding 60/40, it's the shortfall from.
But this proposal with the $24 tax bill, it requires less from both entities, the city and the county, so that 60/40 is much less.
Sure.
Because everybody will be back to paying some sort of fee. And there's some people, you know, know through the great, that slip through the cracks, but we'll deal with that later. But the bottom line is, this is I think, a more fair way of approaching. The city contributes less, and the county contributes less, because everybody's back to paying again.
And
Not
I,
everybody, but-
I like the idea of the 911 board managing this fund. You know, we really have control when we approve and the city approves your budget.
And any amendments, in this, I also added, Sam, one of the concerns the city had was that the board authorized some capital expenditures over the years that the city did not approve. And so in this proposal, I added that both city and county have to approve the capital expenses that are not in the current or the presented budget. Follow what I'm saying? Anything comes up during the middle of the year that requires a capital expense, city and county has to approve it. And I think that should take the fear, some of the fear away from the city as having a budget that they don't control at the end of the year.
They'd have to approve it and fund it too, I would think.
Yes, yeah, for sure. If you're gonna prove it, you still have to show it.
And like the paper said, he wants an exact figure. There's no way you can put an exact figure on. Computer might burn up tomorrow. He has to go out and buy a new computer, $20,000-$30,000, the time he gets it synced in with everything. Well, I mean, how can you put an exact figure on?
Well, I compared it, Keith, for the media, I compared this to the planning commission. Planning commission just submitted their budget to us. And at the end of the year, the city of Bardstown gets a bill, and the city of Bloomfield gets a bill, so the New Haven and Fairfield get a bill for their percentages of what is covered, what it takes to cover the cost, based on a percentage. Because their fees that year might be $20,000 more than it was last year, and the cities don't need as much money, have to contribute as much money because might have had 2 or 3 whiskey warehouses built that weren't forecasted. And that brings your fees up, so you're going to need less money from government. So I compare it to the same principle as we use on planning commission, and I'll be darned if that's worked over 40 years now.
Can we put a fee on 911 just like that? To wherever it's at, let them help fund 911. Just like you was talking about if City of Bardstown does 20 things this year, they're gonna have to pay more to the Planning and Zoning Commission, is that correct?
No, it's based on whatever revenue the planning commission takes in.
Takes on what was
Is
built.
deducted from what our real costs are. That means if they've got, instead of $40,000 this year in revenue, they've taken in 80, then we're coming up with less at the end of the year. And the city will come up with less at the end of the year. Mechanically, that's different.
Or if it goes the other way.
If it goes the other way, we have to muck up a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's hard to put a definite number on that because your fees may be
There's too many
tremendous.
unknowns.
Well, I know,
In fact,
but I
planning
can see
commission
what
has-
we're doing with planning and zoning work with 911 somewhat.
It's working.
But I think Keith's question is that, I think the percentages are preset.
Preset, yeah.
They don't change every year.
Well, these are preset too, 64.
Are you
But Keith's
talking-
question is, I think,
Yeah,
correct
go
me if
ahead.
I'm wrong,
No.
that the percentages, you're saying the city of Bardstown used it more, so they have to pay more. I don't think he's saying that's not the case.
The costs are fixed, the revenues are not. They vary from year to year, so you may have more revenue, so you got less to offset.
Yeah.
But
But your percentage stays the same,
You're
right?
saying charge a fee by agency, basically.
Yeah, if New Haven only used 2, then they only owe 2.
And-
If Bardstown used 200, then they owe 200.
But there's still a basic service that has to be in place whether somebody uses it or not.
I understand that, and we did that, well, I think.
And it's the same way,
By
there's a
putting it on
basic
the tax
service
bill.
Well, that
you've got to
is-
have sitting
that
around
is-
there just in case there is a call.
That is the $24. Everybody gets to pay that in the county.
Yeah.
All right, then each department that uses it, city police, probably use it more than anybody, pay a % of the balance that's left.
And would
That's
help
how,
fund the short
actually,
run.
yeah, that's how we came up with the 60-40 years ago.
And they're arguing that point now. I suspicion if they.
It would be 50-50 if we
That's
argued the
what
point
I'm
now.
saying. They're
We're
arguing,
trying
but
not
now-
to be,
If
you know,
you
micro,
let them pay per bid, Joey's cost him,
52%.
county sheriff's cost him, but there's a dollar amount you gotta meet, and I think you got, say you got 1 million calls or whatever it is, and everybody has to pay the extra, but you could prorate it that way as
It would
everybody in the county's
help,
paying
it hurt, the
$24.
city would have to pay more money if they did that.
And then, well, they
And but
gotta
what-
get in their city budget.
If I use my backhoe more in the city limits, I have to pay every time I use it.
Well, would that be
in the city
fair?
limits.
And not double tax anybody, because we're paying, the county's paying double tax too. I guess what you're
We've
saying.
talked about that in the past, yes.
I mean, mean, if they pay a
We haven't
fee-based
talked about
type
that option.
situation.
I mean,
I don't
And
see
the
how
reason we
can
left it
argue.
at 60/40 was, that was the
You
original.
estimated how much they used it. I
Oh,
think.
no, those were exact numbers back when, 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
It's up about
A little
12
more than
percentage
that.
point now, but I'm willing to move on and absorb the 12%.
I understand that, but they keep saying that. we're
it's just an option. I mean, we're out here for discussion. It's an
Yeah.
option that we could.
It'd be easy to do, easy enough to account for.
Well, right. Their
Oh, yeah.
phone call come in.
And then they could.
But now,
not
what
argue.
happens, here's what happens, some of the councilmen and the mayor would say, well, I have to have this city police department, city fire department, because if you're in the city of Bardstown, your truck catches on fire, my fire department's gotta answer it.
Well, now they're.
That's what we hear.
Well, that's gonna be very minor. That ain't gonna happen very often, even if it happens.
I'm with you, but that's what,
I don't-
that's what they
understand.
usually throw back
I
on
don't
the basis.
disagree with
Ones in
the
the room.
method of 60/40 is fair, and it's more fair to the city, probably.
That's what I'm trying to say.
But if they want to be fair to their taxpayers, show that they're not being
Yeah.
double
More
taxed.
fair to my people in
And let
Harrison,
their
might use
department,
one
their
call a
budget
year.
pay for the calls. And Joe's budget will pay for his calls, and we fund the county government.
It would just help, yeah.
You can do a what if, and see what it looks like, if you want to go that deep.
Oh, we've done it. We've already done that. 52%, 52 or 53? The city.
52% of the city.
Yeah.
Well, show them the numbers, say, hey.
We have.
Here's the
We have.
alternative.
It doesn't seem to go anywhere when you show them the numbers.
Any other comments, guys?
I got all kinds of them, but I'll.
I thank you for reserving your,
You'd really like to say what you really want to say.
Yes.
That's fine. So,
anybody else in the audience have anything to bring up, want to bring up? Otherwise, entertain a motion to adjourn. Thank you, Bernard. Second by Jeff. All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Disapproved? Motion carried. Jeff, you look at those and let me know for next court meeting on those.